Peppa Pig is filled with mysteries, and among the various mysteries circulating around, one of the most popular ones is about Madame Gazelle being a vampire. As we all know, Madame Gazelle is Peppa's teacher, and she is well known for possibly being hundred of years old. And in this video, we're going to tell you exactly why she is a vampire. This theory started when the song Madame Gazelle Had a Castle Set was released. In the music video, everyone in Peppa's world is celebrating Halloween. In the later part of the video, when Peppa goes to play with Madame Gazelle, there's a mirror in the background, but in it, we only see Peppa's reflection, even though Madame Gazelle is standing right in front of the mirror. In that same scene, we can notice Peppa getting spooked when she realizes that Madame Gazelle has no reflection at all. And if we look at Madame Gazelle's reaction, we can notice she isn't surprised by it. Maybe she isn't trying to hide the fact that she is a vampire. If you know what vampire are, then you should also know that vampire don't have a reflection. Even if they stand in front of mirror, no one can see them in it. So this is certainly a strong point that proves Madame Gazelle might in fact be a vampire. And this is just one of the many clues that we found. In the episode Madame Gazelle's house, Peppa, George, Mummy, and Daddy Pig have gone to visit Madame Gazelle. And when they enter the house, they all go sliding down because the house is slanted. And right at the moment, when Peppa and George stop sliding, we can notice a picture on the wall. And in it, we see a person who is most likely Mr. Gazelle, Madame Gazelle's husband. And one more thing, the photo is also black and white, meaning it was taken during olden times. Since Madame Gazelle lives alone, we can theorize that her husband has probably passed away. Later in the episode, when we go into a flashback, we can again notice the same picture. But the issue is, Madame Gazelle said that this was a long time ago, when the Christmas tree was very tiny, but now it has grown very huge. And research tells us that it can take up to 40 years for such a tree to grow so big. Now, there are two questions here. If flashback was 40 years ago, why was Madame Gazelle looking the same as now, and her husband passed away so long ago? This probably means they were married hundreds and hundreds of years ago. But since her husband was a normal person, he passed away. But Madame Gazelle is still alive. And that's not all. Later in the episode, when Mr. Bull finds bats in the tree, Madame Gazelle says they remind her of her old country, which we will discuss further in the next point. Another point that strongly supports the argument that Madame Gazelle is a vampire is her age. Madame Gazelle seems to be a creature hundreds of years old, which would never be possible for a common living being. One of the facts that proves this point happens in the episode Playgroup Star. In this episode, Peppa gets her first playgroup star for making a drawing of her house, and later when she asks Daddy Pig if he had ever won the star, we go into a flashback. And if we look at Madame Gazelle, although it's possible to notice that the character really has aged a few more years physically, she doesn't seem to have aged to the point where she seems to be someone's grandmother, as we can see in the cases of Grandpa Pig and Grandpa Dog, who have white beards and mustaches from the effects of age. Meanwhile, Madame Gazelle is practically identical to her version that taught all the moms and dads in the show. This is only possible because vampires never age. They remain with the same appearance as when they became vampires forever. As we discussed earlier, Madame Gazelle doesn't have any reflection. If you don't know, not having a reflection is the same as not having a soul. So vampires don't appear in mirrors or photographs. And Madame Gazelle's absence of reflection is evident in other moments besides the one we mentioned earlier in this video. In the episode Peppa Pig's Halloween Pumpkin Party, we see Susie, who is also Peppa's best friend, talking to Madame Gazelle and showing her vampire costume to her. And at this moment, just like what happened with Peppa in the first example, there's absolutely no reflection of Madame Gazelle in the mirror behind her. Only Susie appears as if she were completely alone. Moreover, when Susie says she's playing a vampire, Madame Gazelle says that those words bring her many memories of her hometown, a vampire that brings back memories of the old country. But what hometown is this that reminds her of vampires? The only answer would be Transylvania, Dracula's land. Of course, this is in addition to the fact that she indeed has no reflection, which certainly wasn't an editing error, but something deliberately placed in the episode to confirm the theory that Madame Gazelle is a vampire. Now, this next evidence will surely convince you that Madame Gazelle is in fact a vampire. If you have observed Madame Gazelle closely, you'll notice that she has abnormal characteristics. Another point that proves Madame Gazelle is indeed a vampire is proven by the fact that she can do things that no other normal being can do in Peppa's world. For example, in one of the episodes, the teacher goes to play with the children, and she manages to hit the ball with such force that it simply cracks the roof of the school. Now the issue here is it normal for an old lady over 100 years old to have the ability to do such a feat? Honestly, that's impossible, unless this person has tremendous strength, as vampires usually do. Another occasion where we see the school teacher doing something that completely contradicts what any ordinary person would do occurs in the episode Sun, Sea, and Snow. We see the moms of the kids along with Madame Gazelle having the idea of going to the beach on a day when the snow is very dense. The teacher tells everyone they can go into the sea even with the snow since it's not frozen. Then she dives into the icy water as if it's nothing. She even says the water is wonderful. That's certainly something no ordinary being could do. Mommy Pig even tried, but she got so cold that she practically came out immediately. Meanwhile, Madame Gazelle was there calmly in that water, with a temperature close to 0 since there was only snow that day. Everyone knows that vampires are cold-blooded creatures, so ice and icy water for them are things that don't change their sensation of cold or heat, exactly as we see Madame Gazelle reacting. From everything we've seen so far, we can really say that Madame Gazelle is a character completely different from any other in the Peppa Pig show. Even though creators of the show haven't directly said that she is a vampire, all these hidden clues definitely point towards the fact that she might indeed be one. Going back to the pumpkin party, when Susie asks her mummy what a vampire is, Mummy Sheep says a vampire is someone who sleeps in the day and stays awake all night.
It's someone who sleeps all day and stays awake all night.
Now, if we go by this definition, you may think that Madame Gazelle couldn't be a vampire because she teaches Peppa's class during the daytime. The theory for this is Madame Gazelle has been alive for so long that she has evolved, and now she can do what normal living beings can do. And our research also tells us that she definitely doesn't sleep during nighttime. This can be proved from the episode where Peppa volunteers to take care of Madame Gazelle's guinea pigs. When Daddy and Mummy Pig arrive, Madame Gazelle shows them a list of things they must not forget to do to take care of the guinea pigs. And one of the things that stands out on this list is that it's necessary to brush the fur of the 2 guinea pigs several times, with one of these brushings being exactly in the middle of the night. Now, who in their right mind would wake up in the middle of the night to brush guinea pigs, unless you're a nocturnal being who doesn't sleep during the night? That would explain why Madame Gazelle does this every night, since for her, this would be completely natural as she probably never sleeps, which would also explain why she uses blue eyeshadow to hide her dark circles that make it clear she never sleeps and stays every night awake. After all, vampires stay awake all night. So, these were some of the points that prove Madame Gazelle might be a vampire. And as always, we'll see you all in the next video.